Woke up late, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screaming LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump, I won't forget. Buy high, die huddling. The gen brain dopamine's controlling. Ride the whale or get wrecked clean. This crypto dream's a guillotine. Fake guru with 1,000 subs showed me coins in shady clubs. Promised moons, Lambos and jets. Now I'm left with JPEGs and debts. Scalped my soul in a 5-minute chart. Market dumped and it ripped my heart. But I'll reload, I'll play to win. Even if I lose it all again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. Almost gone, greed's the king. This crypto dream's a punk rock thing. Time in hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. Liquidation, call me sweet. Whisper welcome to defeat. No stop loss, no regrets. Code and chaos, no safety nets. Satoshi's ghost in my DMs told me to ape again and again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. If I crash, at least I tried. In this wild west of blockchain rights. I'll be trading till the lights go out. Shots are noise, but I live for the sound. One candle spike, and I'm back in town. Crypto's a fight, and I'm 10 toes down. Diamond hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. But I'll reload, I play to win. Even if I lose it all again. Woke up late, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre.
Good morning, guys. Hope you're having a great day today. Who we got in the chat? We got Coma here first. No way. We got Wayne, Bull Runner, Josh, Noah, Sterling. Sterling and I went camping last weekend, or during the weekend. I hope you guys had a good weekend. I had probably the worst sleep in my entire life. I can't say my entire life, but awfully close. Yeah, it was rough. I probably got the most sleep between like 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. and then got up around like 8:15. It's like no sleep at all. We had a lot of fun though. Even though it was storming 60% of the time. Eric, what's up? We got Uncle, Jilly. Okay. So Bitcoin's on a run. We are watching some key levels to prepare for a rejection. For anyone who is in existing long, I'll talk about what areas you should watch out for. Anyone who's looking for a long, I'll show you what areas we need to retrace to in order to start thinking about longs again. So for Bitcoin, to explain the move, we had a little bit of news confluence, but structurally, the evidence of us going up was follows along with like valley area and range bound concepts. So if we look at this valley area here, right, we were ranging there for about 9 days or so, right? 8 days, 9 days, yeah. Over the weekend, it was pretty boring. We got like a 5-minute short here that we hit our head off of. We're looking for 15-minute structure to dictate our move down from there, but we never got one. So here we pulled back. We had two forms of evidence that we were going to be leaving this value area and going to a previous one. We had this guy here, this little dude here, when we broke up into the above the value area high, 2-candle pullback, then higher high, right? Whenever you see that, you prepare for, first, in this scenario, you'd be watching like the unclaimed highs, like what could keep us down, right? And we ran up and we hit one of those unclaimed highs at the form of SFP, only to return back to the value area and retest it again for a higher high, right? So this told us that we're going to leave in this value area, and then this told us as well that we're going to leave in the value area. So let's delete all that noise. So whenever you see this kind of stuff happen, this warns you that there could be a trend-bound move, and we're going to be leaving the existing range. We came to our 123-day previous value area low. If we were to zoom out on this, this is a fixed range volume profile pull from January the 31st, like on Saturday. We mitigated the supply up here, and all this became part of our value area pull after we got the acceptance through this break of structure and this follow-up break of structure here. From there, we fell harshly, lost the value area itself, and then now we're coming in to try to get acceptance back inside. The biggest area of interest within this zone is this volume node right here, right? So you treat this as its own value area. So I marked this volume shelf as a form of resistance right here at 70,870. I know I got a lot of noise in my chart, but all these levels are important for me to help identify like key levels to prepare for rejection. We are at one right now as we speak. We're at the 123-day previous point of control, using it as resistance in confluence with this big zone here, basically acting as a form of supply. If we were to get the continuation, we break past this, we have a ton of liquidity above this supply, right? And the shelf starts at 67,566. So from here, if you are a market maker looking for an exit plan, this is a great spot for that exit plan to be able to exit with the least amount of price impact, right? So they want to deal with slippage, as much slippage and all that stuff, even if you're trading with like over $40 million. Here is our next zone of interest for shorts, or exit plans for long, sorry. If we were to continue to go down, I would say we reject off of this point of control and then come down. This is going to be the next area of interest for longs again. We're planning for this area to act as a form of support and to potentially be the floor to a new range, right? I say it all the time. Whenever you see an impulse move up, base of structure, impulse move up, once you have your opposing change of character, you assume that this is going to be an area of interest that could act as a form of support to induce a range, right? So we can play here for a little bit. And right now, if this is our established high right here, and we don't take this high, and we just continue to go down, then we can use a fib from the impulse low to our high, and that aligns with this demand zone, which, by the way, is also an order block, and the VWAPs here too. So you can use the time frames even as low as the 3-minute to dictate an entry, right? If we have the confluence of closing back above the VWAP, or maybe we hold above the VWAP this whole time, then we can target the unclaimed high. So there's 2 ways you can play this, right? You can look for a bullish change of character on the 3-minute, or you can look for, depending on the volume, like a kind of like a VWAP slap reaction. So preferably like a doji candle test to the VWAP, and then the following candle engulfs past it. And you can enter in on that. Stop loss below the low. So preferably, I like to trade those 3-minute changes of character in these kind of scenarios. But you get what you get. So there's that. So you can look for the continuation for the long here. But if we keep climbing up, then you'd be looking for the contrarian entry for the bearish change of character up here at 67.5. And we could have the, theoretically, we could have the change of character here as well. If we SFP'd this high, or even got a small like break of structure, and then took out this low, but would that be worth shorting? Is the question, right? You can probably get the SFP, acceptance back inside the orb, but shorting off the change of character, knowing that the barrier is right in your face, is not usually a good idea. So that's Bitcoin. We spoke about Bitcoin dominance kind of plummeting right now, coming back to a big area of interest. We have two big areas of interest. One that kind of starts at 58.96 here, and the next one at 58.81, which is the valley area low to a big range. We are rejecting off of a point of control at 59.30 with a bearish change of character. Right? So this is telling us that funds are flowing out of Bitcoin and into other assets. And based on the others dominance chart and the USD dominance chart, that most of the funds are flowing actually into alts right now on Ethereum. We saw that there's relative strength on Ethereum. So it's reflecting the chart perfectly that way, where Bitcoin doesn't have as much distance away from its demand zone as Ethereum does. Ethereum has broke its like ascending double bottom to the upside, same way Bitcoin did, except its lead away from the valley area has been much more aggressive. So if Bitcoin continues to go up and this relative strength in Ethereum continues, then I'll be looking at 1911 for our next big area of interest for shorts on Ethereum, or an exit plan for anyone who's in on longs. If we get a rejection here, where we currently are, which is based on a sweep of like this high of the supply zone, while it's aligned with Bitcoin's point of control rejection, then we could be looking for like potentially longs back down here. We got this little dude here with we got an order block here as well. Yeah, this would be the biggest area of interest for longs. But the alignment could come with VWAP and this little order block, that kind of confluence from the low to the high. Or fib kind of aligns with the VWAP there. So based on the relative strength, I'm not really expecting for us to pull back. But if we pull back here, it might be pretty, it could be pretty aggressive. So we might lose that relative strength and it turns into relative weakness. As Bitcoin does a slow drop, Ethereum could do a hard drop. It happens all the time where you see relative strength in an asset, it goes crazy, and then when Bitcoin does a small little drawdown, they get stronger relative weakness, and then they collapse the heck of a lot stronger. So here's the, oh, my bad. How do I go back to that? Ethereum chart. Go back to Bitcoin. Bitcoin dominance chart. USDT. USDT kind of aligning with everything else. We have big key level at 8.106. It's at 565-day previous Valerie high. Right, so it's getting close to being aligning with uptrending momentum in the 50-day EMA. So around this zone, I'll be expecting support on the USD dominance chart, warning us that funds could be flowing back into USDT, out of alts, out of Bitcoin. So around here, watch this like a hawk, maybe set an alarm around the zone, because it's based on Bitcoin's positioning. Let's say it's at an area of resistance and USD dominance is an area of support. it could warn you that funds will be flowing out of USD, out of Bitcoin and into USDT again. So this coordinates well with Bitcoin reaching around 67K, 67.6 kind of area, which aligns with where we're looking at for an exit plan for longs based on a large pooled amount of liquidity in that area. Let's see what happens, but yeah. I'm preparing for accumulation now on assets for longer term spot holds. The ones I'm looking at the most are based on the participation to tokenizing stocks, right? That's going to be a big narrative coming up. And I don't want to be late to that narrative. I want to be early, right? So we're using our market structure to dictate our entries, not so much like the narrative right now. And the narrative will pick it up very soon. Chainlink is having a big role in converting stocks into tokens. We've got XRP that could facilitate the transactions. I'm kind of like on the fence between choosing XRP or XLM, but I'm not going to be picking both. Algo is going to be having a big role in all this, but I'm not a big fan of Algo's chart. But yeah, so I'm watching to accumulate, Chainlink, Ondo, maybe Algo, and likely XLM because of what they're doing in the background. Ondo is going to be helping build like treasuries and all that stuff. And its chart's not looking that bad. If you zoom out on Ondo, like I'm aiming to accumulate around 34, 39 kind of area. Kind of late to the party on Ondo, in my opinion. We broke downtrending momentum here from $1.13. Again, there after we lost this valley area, we kind of sped up the pace of the buyers a little bit. We went range bound and we broke through that. Now we're squeezing between the 50 and the 200 EMA. So I'm looking to accumulate at the lows of this range. Link is the similar. We had I have a average of around like $7.56, 54 cents. I mentioned this morning I still need to check my log and see where my average is, but I sold my seed investment at $30. So it's only house money right now, but I want to reinvest the money that I sold like back into Chainlink around this valley area high. I'm gonna start a DCA, maybe like around $8.10, and see if we do come back down lower. If we do, then so be it. Then I'll just get better prices, and I'll be looking into maybe accumulating after like a double bottom at the valley area low. So yeah, planning on holding Chainlink likely to around $30 or more. Again, which is the market cap all-time high for Chainlink. Like meaning like if you were to invest the exact same amount of funds today into Chainlink when it was at its all-time high, it would be worth $30 today because of its 7% inflation per year. So this $30 equates to the same value as a $53 target in terms of market cap. And you should do this with every single asset you're planning on holding long term to find out, is this insanely inflationary? Should I be targeting all-time highs again? Because some assets will never hit their all-time high ever again. I'm not saying Chainlink is one of those assets. I think it's very possible that it could. But you just got to be mindful of what the structure looks like when we get to those areas. Are we going to get a daily bearish change of character here? Are we getting an engulfing response? Are we getting like maybe a 4-hour bearish change of character there? Anything that can give you an edge in knowing that you should be playing an exit. But right now where Chainlink is standing is fighting against the 93-day previous value area low, supply boss. So I'll be looking for a bearish change of character here to potentially revisit this demand zone where its previous value area high is, where I might begin my spot accumulation, depending on how we perform here. If we break right through this, if we do come back down here, if we break right through this, then I know, okay, maybe I won't buy a spot here and I can wait for lower prices. Dogecoin, we spoke about Dogecoin. We're at our confluence now, so it has a little bit of relative weakness. So we had that relative strength recently during the SpaceX IPO. It kind of just teleported up here, and I'm likely because of its association with Elon Musk and how he likes to, I don't know, talk about Dogecoin all the time. That's the only real confluence I could think of, other than like structurally, yeah, we came and retested the value area high and used it as support, but you wouldn't really expect something like that from anything that wasn't supported by news, not just structure. It was an unsustainable climb, and so we retraced it, and now we're kind of coming back, being carried by everything else. And right now it's retesting VWAP, this demand zone, 618, and we have momentum here. And we spoke about how you can use like the 3-minute posture, looking for like a bullish change of character around here maybe, and then targeting this unclaimed high. And if we break this unclaimed high, then we'd be looking at around 0.9247 for rejection if we potentially sweep this high again and lose momentum. Now let's take a look at the chat, see what you guys are up to. RP, good morning, man. Uncle, if you got time, can you just quickly look at Aptos? I think it's making a daily change of character, but at an all-time low. Okay. Kyle, can you do TA for Railgun? Sure, maybe, yeah. Haven't heard of Railgun. Can we take a peek at gold? All right, so we want to look at Aptos, Railgun, gold. ETH, high risk for futures here. Ondo, good for stocks. Check out Railgun, brother. Not for stocks, though. Okay. And Arrow. You saw the Astro coin was like 250 million market cap? Market cap is not the same as liquidity, though, right? We'll see. It might be super low liquidity. That's why I got to that market cap valuation. All right, first request was Aptos. Let's see what Aptos is up to. I don't think I have an Aptos chart. I'll pull it up, see if we do. We do not. Okay, so I will pull it up now. For now, Bitcoin, by the way, it's got acceptance back inside its orb. It's coming up towards the ceiling of the orb, which is around 66,847. So we'll be watching for a potential sweep of this high, POC rejection, acceptance in the orb. If we close above it, then we're looking for that continuation to here. Aptos. Pull up on Binance chart. It's the daily. Yeah, this thing's been punished ever since it lost its range. Okay. Yeah, we did have that flip here. So we came down, 2 candle pullback, went below the low, and we're trying to get that break now. So I go for closed wick based market structure. It's the most trustworthy in trading. And we're about 8 hours and 55 minutes away from confirming what you're suggesting, man. But you are right. Yeah. We get the, let's get to the lower time frames here. 4 hours first. Yeah, paints the picture a little bit better. We do have supply here. Yeah, we got this inverse head and shoulders. Break it to the upside. Create like a order block during that break where we could retest to the order block, get the higher high, but then we were watching. Here's gonna be a big boss, despite it giving us like a hard time frame bullish change of character. It could be invalidated depending on how it closes, right? We have lots of time before this candle closes. 8 hours and 54 minutes. So what I'd recommend doing is marking this extreme high here. If you're wanting that change of character, then you know that by the end of the day today, this candle needs to be above here. And lots could happen. So yeah, we could come back down and retest this local demand where that order block was I was just talking about. Let's go to 4 hour and grab that really quick. Right, on the hourly, this is what it looks like. So we're looking for a retest off the VWAP, off that 4 hour order block, in hopes for that bounce. We can look at the lower time frames like the 15-minute or the 3-minute even to look for a bullish change of character off of that, and then be targeting the unclaimed high. If we close above that unclaimed high, then our next target can extend to the supply zone that starts at 73.4. And then from there, we could get that bullish change of character on the daily. Doesn't mean we can't pull back, but it does generate a new strong low way down here. And based on market structure theory, it becomes guarded and makes it harder for us to break. So I'd mark this level. And the objective would be for Aptos to get acceptance back inside this range around 89 cents. If we get there, then we can start seeing a dollar price tag again for this thing. It was ranging in this range for how long? It was 112 days. So we need to get acceptance back in there in order for us to be looking at those prices again. If we get that brick of structure leading into the value area, then yeah, we can start targeting a dollar. The next boss after this supply is this one right here, and this one has the confluence of the 50-day EMA. So boss number 1, boss number 2, before this is possible. I hope that helps you out, man. But yeah, if you're looking for a new entry, this is the spot. If you're looking for an exit plan, this is your first area of interest. And this whole zone could be a value area as well. From here till we left it right about here. Okay. We wanted to look at gold. Yeah, someone has to look at gold. We've got a gold chart. Let's see. Yeah, okay. There's one chart I want to take a look at today that I haven't looked at in about a week. For gold, we were looking at how it was starting to range here. We're looking for resistance off the supply, but we busted right through it. Now we're at our next supply boss here, which was also a 12-hour order block. It's a pretty violent move up. I know there's... see. Yeah, we got as well. You know, we're talking about how we're watching these two big areas of interest for support, right? And we've held off of the point of control at 4,048. Then we end up getting it back above that valley area high, the previous valley high, use it as support. And a really aggressive reaction to our supply boss. We swept this high. So we're actually at an area of interest now to prepare for rejections. Our next big area of interest is up here. We have downturning momentum. We've got our 50 and 200 day EMA that just recently crossed. Give us a death cross on these are dailies, by the way. So we have to watch these guys. As price action slowly comes up towards it, those confluences are going to eventually merge. And we can hit our head off of that. But for now, we should actually prepare for that reversal structure. And based on the hourly, we don't really have much. Oh, we do have this low on the hourly. If that breaks, then we can look for a rotation down to our newly formed demand zone. Look at the 15 minute. The 15-minute front runs that hourly by about, not by much, by about 20 bucks or so. And the 5-minute, we have a bearish flip so far, but the 5-minute aligns with the 15-minute here. We have an ascending regression trend here. These typically break to the downside, especially when you're in an area of interest of where we currently are. So the downside break, the stage is usually awkward. Sometimes we have our momentum. That's the main thing you watch when it comes to a regression trend alongside market structure. So if we see, like, let's say we bounce off these previous highs and then we hit our head here and then we have a bearish change of character. That's the kind of stage that you want to look for when shorting a regression trend. And you target the bottom side of that regression trend where the liquidity starts to end. Because with the regression trends, we take and take and take liquidity from the upside, but we keep stacking and stacking on the downside. So people call this a liquidity curve. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, you'd first aim for this to act as a form of support. We got like a low time frame internal demand here. We watch for that bounce. This is the kind of pathing that I would like to see before shorting it to make it a safe short. And if we close below this level, then we have that hourly bearish change of character, which sometimes induces a move back up, but guarded by the strong high, and we can have that run all the way down to these lows. But yeah, this low here is something you have to watch too. 4,309 is our VWAP, and it's almost aligned with that 15-minute strong low. So we kind of want to have that structural rotation. So the strong low rotates after we take this high, right? So we got the proper pullback here. We just need the high to be taken in order to rotate our key level from here to whatever low we establish. I hope that helps, but yes, right now we are currently in an area of interest to prepare for an exit plan. We just need structural evidence first in case it runs up further. If it runs up further, then it's 4,409 next. Wondering if you know there are 2 Bybit Bitcoin Tether perpetual contracts, but one shows more volume, one shows less. Is there a reason for this? Post it in the Discord. They might have different tickers. I mean, not different tickers, ticks. Tick contracts. I'll have to take a look. I was not aware that there are 2 perpetual contracts on Bitcoin. I know there's an inverse perpetual known as like a coin margin version, which would have less volume, but it helps you with strategic type trades. And then there's the other perpetuals is based on using stable coins, right? Like there could be a USDC one, could be a USDT one. If there's 2 USDT ones that you might be saying there, then yeah, I'll have to investigate it, man. Post in the welcome chat. Okay, cool. Because what some exchanges do, and it's not very common, my first thought is it could have different tick-based contracts. So if you look at the chart that I'm looking at right now, it's Bybit, right? And every tick is 10 cents. Some exchanges will change that to every 25 cents or whatever, but it's not common. Like most exchanges want to have their volume focused. They don't want to isolate it in different contracts. So it could be a time-based contract, could be, there's tons of theories I got in my mind. Rail arrow hype. Rail is first request. Let's see what rail even is. Railgun. Doesn't look like it's listed on very many exchanges, so it's young. We'll pull it up on MEXC. The chart's ugly. More of an investor's asset than a trader's asset. So on the daily, its market structure is bullish. We flip bullish down here. Broke this ascending broadening wedge to the upside with the bullish change of character. Retested the momentum, or yep. Retested again. We are getting above the newly formed 200-day EMA and 50-day EMA. We crossed bullish. This is called a golden cross, but is the very first one that's ever happened on this asset, so don't take that seriously. We have a value area here. Praise value area high. Praise POC. Praise value area low. Mark our extreme high wicks. And mark our extreme low wicks. We're currently trading internally on the daily between this high at $5 and this low at like $1.24. So it's an insanely large range kind of we're in here. in terms of percentage. Like it's just stupid. That's 200 and yeah, like 300% between the low and the high from the last break of structure. We zoom in on the 4 hour. We had this demand zone here, held us up for a little bit. It's fully mitigated now ever since we kind of have lagged down right here. We bounced off of the previous point of control from that previous range. Right, so we're kind of honoring that previous range right now, ranging the same way we did before in the past. So right now we're at an area of interest where we prepare for shorts above this value area high. You either prefer a structural confluence, like looking for maybe a sweep of one of these highs, and then a lower time frame bearish change character. So right now we're looking at the 4 hour time frame. Let's go to the 15. The 15-minute structure is absolutely garbage. At least on MEXC. I don't know if there's better structure somewhere else. MEXC does have a problem with not asking for enough liquidity from token creators. So sometimes you get charts like this. But this just could be a lower market cap asset in general, or poor liquidity backed asset. So it's giving you these awkward candles here. So I can't really give you safe advice on where to look for or how to short this thing in terms of market structure, because it's not really honoring market structure very cleanly. So around here, you can look for an exit plan starting at $3.89. That ranges all the way to $5. Like that's a huge percentage base move. You have wicks that are absolutely ridiculous, like this one here. That's like 26%. So if you were to set a stop loss, for example, you were looking at this break of structure here. You're like, okay, cool. I can rotate my stop loss lower. You put your stop loss right above that high. And then your stop loss could get a lot of slippage, 5%. Move here and end up getting your, I don't know, potentially liquidated. Yeah, when it comes to these assets, it's okay to look at as an investor. We're using larger time frames to dictate your entry, key levels to dictate your entry. But when it comes to looking at this as a trader, you gotta be super cautious. Like spot only is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, we had that bullish move up. We're coming up to previous all-time highs, value area high, for a range that we were ranging in for 113 days. So this is a big area of interest for people's exit plan. Zooming back in on Bitcoin, see what it's doing. Still creeping its way up to the orb high. It's Monday. It usually sets up the structure for the week, and then the real trades happen usually between Tuesday and Thursday. Arrow and hype. Arrow. I don't think we have an arrow chart either. AE arrow. No. Aerodrome Finance. I'm on the spot version on Bybit. Yeah, last time we looked at Arrow, we were looking at this squeeze bound confluence here. So we're had this uptrending momentum that ended around mid-May, so about a month ago. And we're getting squeezed against the 200-day EMA. So whenever I come across momentum meeting areas of confluence, sometimes I'll draw these like little red triangles to help me, like my psychology, focus on shorts. I'll make green boxes for the way down. We broke past the 200 EMA, but we end up getting like this hourly bearish change of character SFP leading into it. So these are great because We grab the newly added liquidity, and then we break a strong key level, taking sell side liquidity. So we have less reason to go back up when we sweep those levels, and these tend to have really good follow through. They're not always as great as this. We just go straight down. But I mean, when I say follow through, I mean like they're more likely to give us like longer term trades, especially if they're staged at like macro key levels. But now we should be focusing on this downtrending momentum that we just recently broke and then used as support. We had this previous point of control here. We broke past that simultaneously. Got back above the 50-day EMA. So we could be starting a squeeze between the 50 and the 200 EMA again. We should mark this as a value area from here to here. Delete. Yeah, I'll be marking these wick level highs. So from where it currently is, like we had the supply right here that we hit our head off of and helped drive us back down. But we kind of like kicked his butt right here. So it doesn't mean we can't go down from here, but if we do, we'll be looking at like this previous value area low as an area of interest for support alongside that 50-day EMA. So a continuation wouldn't surprise me from where we currently are. But if we do get that rejection, we'll be looking at it as an area of interest for a bounce off like 40 cents, then maybe down to 39.37 where the 50-day EMA is. But overall, prepare for a full rotation to the value area high. And maybe even sweep this high up here at 45.72. So great exit plan for anyone who's in like a long-term macro long up here, 45.72, and a reaccumulation plan over here. But in terms of structure, we don't really have much. But in terms of confluence, we have quite a bit. Right now, with VWAP, value area low, 50-day EMA. And this ugly zone of interest. 15-minute order block. Right here. And we got a little order block here too. With imbalance. So there we go. Taking any longs from here, just know that you'd be watching your unclaimed high as your primary target first. And if we build any internal supply along the way as well. With an ultimate target of reaching 45.72. I hope that helps you out. But that's arrow and how I'd plan an entry plan. Impulse fib. Yeah, Fibonacci 618, 786 kind of in cases. The order block and VWAP and value area low. Mark, what's up, man? You got Chasm, Bull Runner. Okay, so we went through a lot of assets. We went through Rail, W. I don't know if we went through W during the stream, actually. Chainlink, Gold, Ethereum, Hype. Let's take a look at Hype. We've got a Hype chart. It's at 67.57. Okay. Yeah, just like Gold, Hype has kind of surprised us with breaking through some key levels. We were watching for rejection here. It does look like we initially did get that rejection. It brought us back to our value area low. Let's adapt this pull though from where we left. We left right here. All right, we can delete this. We don't need this anymore. Delete this. We were expecting a bit of a pullback here. Last time I looked at it too, and we did pull back to our internal demand. Bounced off of that. But this change of character was the start of the race, right? It's warned us that we could be rotating to the value area high at least. And we got to the value high and surpassed it. This, I believe, was a daily order block. That's why it's so large. We have our eyeballs here because we're watching out for the head and shoulders, which had a wild target of 41.35. We broke below the level that we were watching out for to validate that. We didn't use it as resistance. We actually held off of the 50-day EMA and kind of launched ourselves back up from there. So that was invalidated. Well, yeah, it became invalidated the moment we closed above this high here. This up here, I believe, is also a daily order block. Let's take a look. Yes, yeah. And we're super close to tapping it. So as we deviate away from our local value area, from its value area high, into this supply and this daily order block, we should be preparing for shorts here. Like, this is an amazing spot to prepare for shorts with all the confidence we have with Hype in this area. We just need the structural agreements. So there's 3 ways we can get that. One, we look at this high, we watch for a sweep. SFP is the front run to a change of character. Okay, that's at 68.46.4. An SFP is basically just a candle coming up, sweeping the high, and that same candle closing below this wick. Preferably, the body closes below the bodies of the time frame that you're looking at, right? So if you have a 15-minute SFP and it closes back inside the 15-minute body range, that has a higher statistical likelihood of rotating to an SFP target, which is this current low here if we got it, right? So be targeting 66.63 in hopes that we close below it for that change of character continuation. And by then, the VWAP should catch up, and we'd have VWAP on our side during that confirmation too. If you don't like trading SFPs, because they usually do come with a lower win rate, they're much higher win rate with areas of confluence like this, but if you don't like trading SFPs, then you can wait for the bearish change of character if that high becomes swept, and that would come from a close below this low. I know some people prefer getting the best possible price, but really it's just about capturing the best possible path as a trader. It's not about the price, it's about the path. And this is our momentum that we would lose in confluence with that change of character. Right? So 1 is the SFP, 2 is the change of character, 3 is the flip. The flip is less reliable. That's when we have an internal break of structure, right? So we got the pullback, but we failed to create the higher high. So we have a descending double top with a lower high. And that you need a body close below here to validate that. If we sweep this, then that warns us that we could be coming back up to our highs. So we need a body close below here on the 15 at 66.61.9. And then from there, we have this regression trend target. And we'll be targeting this rally area high at 62.57. We do have some order blocks along the way that could give us a bounce. If we look at the 30-minute, that's where they are. So just prepare mentally for bounces when we get to these zones. Pullbacks are necessary for an efficient market. As much as we'd like for it just close and then teleport down. But yeah, really good confidence for shorts, for hype here. Easy pathing. This is your first primary target, 62.66. But if we close below this area and get acceptance into this value area again, I'm more likely to expect that we range here. But if we do get the acceptance back in here, then we can get a rotation back down to $57. While watching the point control along the way at 58.94. All right, that's hype for you. Isn't that wick the highest high already in SFP? Let's take a look. What are we sweeping? No, it's not already in SFP. The highest high? You mean locally? There could be something in the lower time frames here. I'm looking at the 15-minute. No, there's no SFP there. You might be mentioning maybe a potential liquidity grab. Liquidity grabs are not the same as SFPs. SFP is a structural based confluence, and liquidity grabs are basically just areas of interest where there could be stops and liquidations. So if you're talking about this, where we swept this wick, it structurally looks similar to an SFP, but an SFP is an invalidation point of a break of structure or a change of character. So there has to be an area where a break of structure or a change of character might occur. And SFP is an invalidation of that. So you need to have like the 2-candle pullback rule, right? So we pull back here, we pull back here, establish this as our low, and this is our unclaimed high. Or sorry, this is our this is our unclaimed high, and this is our currently, you call this a weak low once the high is taken. But we're currently trading internally between this high and this low. So any SFPs that you might see happen this in the lower time frames is internal between here and here, or on the 12-minute for some reason. But either way, the 15's about the same. So yeah, follow market structure rules of when to look for breaks of structure, change the character, right? So in this case, if I were to come up here, there's a wick. We swept this. This is an area we would look for a change of character, but we could SFP here. Same goes for like breaks of structure. If we were to continue to go down, this is where we get a break of structure. We swept this instead. Then we got an SFP off of that. But wherever there's a wick, there's also potential liquidity. So you might be thinking of a liquidity grab. You can type a exclamation point SFP in like any chat inside the Discord, and you'll get a little lesson on that. Oh, I thought I misunderstood SFP when I was missing the chart part. Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, that part's pretty important. So yeah, anything that's internally within that could be like liquidity grabs, but they're not as strong as an SFP, because an SFP is usually areas where there's more liquidity than anything that's internalized. And their SFPs are way stronger at a value area high or at a value area low. Like focusing on them around like here, more like here, compared to anything that's inside of this. And every daily SFP should be taken seriously. Triple V. We don't have a chart for that, do we? No. Okay. Last time we talked about triple V, we're looking for, we had the squeeze event going on here. Squeezing between this uptrending momentum and this newly formed downtrending momentum. We broke that to the upside. So it looks like the pathing that we were preparing for kind of panned out. It might be hard for you guys to see. We just changed the opacity. We kind of drew out this pathing where if we broke this high, we'd be watching this local high here and hoped for a continuation, but we definitely got the continuation. We ranged up here. So we can delete this now. Don't need this anymore. It's just like a guide to help us know that where we're going to continue, and this is an area where we'd watch for the reversal. We created a new range during that moment, which is great for triple V since it's going in this massive uptrend. We need range-bound activity to create support for along the way down whenever we come back down. And right now it's looking pretty coffee, like looking pretty weak. It's trying to potentially confirm a macro top. We got demand here. This is the demand that we have left, at least. Sends to back. And when there's demand and opposing rejection, you can start forming a valley area for a range. So this is our current valley area. The valley area low to the valley area high is worth 25%. So it's a pretty significant range. We got, let's fix our market structure indicator. There we go. That's much better, eh? I like triple V's current price action. Like, this is nice. So if we have our look for bullish change of characters at the valley area lows, bearish change of characters at the valley area highs. Yeah, we got a decent posture. So we get our uptrending momentum. We're currently hitting our head off of the point of control. Trying to make our way up after bouncing off of momentum. We have our 50-day EMAs up here now too. We can mark this wick level high for sweeps. So 18,859 lines with the value area high. So you prepare for shorts during that moment. And 21,469 is, I believe, the all-time high. Yeah, that's the all-time high based on this chart. look at the 15-minute. So we're holding right now off these previous highs as support. We got this bullish change of character off the momentum. We have our day's warp right here. And watch for sweeps here too at 1720. But the best shorts would come from a bearish change of character up here at 1885. Wait for that break of momentum and then target way back down here at 1457, where we can look for longs again. Now, if we break through this, it's very possible if we break through this because Triple V has been on a really good run, right? And we're at all-time highs. And the bigger picture, it's trying to form a potential head and shoulders, right? So if we get rejected at the point of control that we're at right now, creating the right shoulder to this structure, and we close currently based on daily structure, this low, like a full body close, then we'll be falling back down to the crazy low levels of $9.32 again, maybe even lower, where I'd mark this daily order block. So if we a daily close below $12.48, what rotates back down to $9.35. And we're going to the 15-minute time frame to front run all of that potential drop. Right now, this is our key level. This could change, but right now, this is our key level at 1580. A close below that on the 15-minute time frame would give us a bearish change of character that could bring us back down to these lows of 1457. If we don't find support here, then 1248 is the next big area of interest. If we lose that, then it'll cascade down to $9.50. Worst case scenario, you take things one step at a time and don't marry that crazy target, right? You watch these zones of interest first. What all we really need to do is maybe take this high and then get a pullback and a higher high to change that key level from here to here, right? So as the key level changes, you'll have a much better spot for that longer term short. Bitcoin breaking through the orb. Okay. With a lot of strength too. Okay. So we can delete that. Not that we can't SFP here. We still have 11 minutes left, but that'd be a crazy candle. So our next spot is here, 67.566. Way, way better spot for shorts than by a point of control. That's a Dogecoin long. It's gotta be doing really well. Yeah. If Jilly's still here, I'm not sure if she took the short. I mean the long here. So yeah, 67.5, 66 guys. It's the big area for our shorts. Just gotta wait for the structural gradients. This is an invalidated fib pull. Thanks for the tip on hype. No problem. You like Venice AI since you get a membership from owning 100 triple V. You wish you bought it $2. Oh yeah. Well, guys, I gotta go. I got an eye appointment today. But yeah, recap for what we're playing for on Bitcoin is we're looking for shorts at 57,566. This is based on a supply zone. This is based on a ton of liquidity here. You can look at the 2-week chart on the liquidation heat maps on CoinGlass, and you can find out why, in terms of liquidity, why this is a big area of interest, not just positioning. We got tons of liquidity resting above that shoulder. All right, so if we get reversal structure there, then we'll be targeting back down here at 65,944, where we'll be looking for longs again. So our we'll be establishing support likely between here and likely here. We'll have a range. If we manage to breach past this, then 68,925 is our next area, which would then likely have us hit that the technical target for this ascending double bottom, which is a pretty steep target. So if we have our momentum from the neckline to the momentum, it gives us a target of like 68.7. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was undercut here during this moment. I'll give you guys the signal when I jump in on our trade. But right now, based on our positioning, it's about planning on exiting any existing longs or jumping in onto new shorts. Just gotta be patient because you don't want your face melted off. So wait for structure to be built. Pull back, higher high, break below the low, gives us a change of character, then target like 65.6 area. All right, guys, you have an amazing day. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for sharing. I saw we had some subscriber growth over the weekend, which is pretty cool. We have our giveaways now on Wednesdays and Fridays, not just Fridays. So if you guys are interested in jumping in on that, all you gotta do is jump into the Discord and you'll see InvestShare giveaway channel to know how to apply for it now, because we're changing how it works. But yeah, we're doing more giveaways. So each week we're giving away like $2,000 worth of trading funds on BitNex and $5,000 from Klein Funding, $50 worth of Karma. Just by being a member now, you're also getting $25 a week. So that basically pays for your membership. A whole bunch of cool stuff. All right, guys, you have a great day. Alex of Crypto's in the house. How you doing, man? You caught me right when I was leaving. I gotta get an eye appointment. The girth is uncontrollable. To get access to signals on the Discord, I have to pay for the course. Yeah, there's a membership. You get access to the Discord. You get access to like half a dozen courses. You get access to on-chain data reports, whole bunch of stuff. Invest a tax system to help you with your taxes, like a whole bunch of stuff. It's all included under one membership. If you're coming from another Discord, like Alex of Cryptos, for example, please make sure you use their affiliate links. Because some people come in from Wave Cipher, some people come in from Alex of Crypto, some people come from like Tom Crowns. They all have their own affiliate links. Eye appointment, too much green candles. Well, I want to get contacts for the fight because I want to be able to see the opponent breathe. Fun fact, while someone's doing an inhale, they have 50% less mobility skills. So I want to have my breathing cycle opposite to theirs during the fight. So when they're doing an inhale, I would strike and it makes it harder for them to be mobile for a block. So I want to get contact so I can see breathing. My eyes are so bad that like if you're in the same room as me and I'm looking at you, I can't see your eyes. I can't see. I can barely see you breathing. So all I see is your posture and the color of your hair. That's about it. It's Mech. I believe we did TA on Ethereum already, so you can check out that in the earlier part of the live here, man. I gotta go. All right, thanks for jumping on, guys. Appreciate you. You have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm live tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. See you guys.